All right, hello and welcome back to another interesting video on this channel. This channel we're gonna have an interesting conversation on um, perspectives. Right, we're gonna look at perspectives from Africa and we're gonna look at perspectives from here in the US, having been here for um, almost half a year. And with me in this session is an interesting gentleman who is from Nigeria. Um, I call him Sunday, Sunday, and he happens to be one of my cohort members. So let's take this introduction, and then when we come back, I would let him do an introduction of himself, where he's coming from, how his experiences have shaped him, and how he's more like a social commenter. So just so let's take the intro. Yeah, great. So we're back from the break. So here's my gentleman. Welcome, Joel.
Thank you very much, Rahim.
Yes. I mean, let's just dive straight into the conversation. But before we get into the conversation, I would really want to understand your perspectives on um, how you grew up, how Nigeria has shaped your thinking, and general what has really evolved over the course of your journey growing up.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I think I need to make a formal introduction of myself. My name is Joel, and yeah, for some reasons they call me Sunday too, and I guess that's why he introduced me as Sunday. So I grew up in Nigeria, born and raised in Nigeria, and just coming to the US the last 5 or 6 months.
Mm.
I think for some reasons, coming from Nigeria has actually contributed a lot to how I actually view the world. A lot of people say, yeah, Nigeria is actually a very difficult place to stay and live, especially judging with um, some kind of policies that
Mm.
our government make. But I have this perception that most of these difficulties contribute a lot to how inquisitive we can actually be.
Wow.
And this also applies to my own personal decisions.
Mm.
My coming to the US was actually shaped by, you know, the desire to actually get better.
Mm.
And this difficulty is not like it's one moment thing.
Okay.
It's something that is a little bit generational, bro.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
do you know?
so actually that reminds me. You said that um, a lot of people have that idea that it is really difficult to survive in Nigeria or just grow up in Nigeria. But
Yeah.
recently, I saw a post, a comment you made on a post by, I think, one Nigerian who was advising against young individuals who were growing up in Nigeria to avoid Lagos, right?
Mm.
But then your comment on it was really interesting because you were like, you need to look at how you would grow from those adversities, such that when you um, eventually go outside of Nigeria, you can be able to put things in perspective and understand. So I mean, I'm interested in
Well, yeah. For some reasons, I mean, a lot of people try to, like, you go to Nigeria,
okay.
a lot of people, especially people who did not grow up
Mm-hmm.
or who have not actually been in Lagos, they feel like Lagos is a very chaotic place. It's
Okay.
a difficult place to be because, for a fact, Lagos is the smallest state in terms of land mass in
Wow.
Nigeria, the smallest among the 36 states that we have.
But it is the
But it's the
populated.
most populated, probably more populated than New York. Yeah, we have close to 25 million people living
Wow.
in Lagos alone. So this place makes, like, because of the nature and the population, judging with the land mass too, it becomes chaotic.
Mm.
That you can take like 1 hour or 2 hours to get home in a journey that normally should take like 6 minutes. Because of that
Oh my
difficulty, a lot of
goodness.
people run out of Lagos and say, hey, I can't live in Lagos.
Mm.
But for me personally,
Okay.
Lagos is actually the place to be, especially for people who are not privileged.
Mm.
If you know you don't have people at that high places, Lagos is actually the place to be, because
Wow.
Lagos is like the I know in America they don't have like a particular place that has concentration of opportunities and stuff. Everywhere has
Everywhere.
opportunity,
Yeah.
but in
Yeah.
Nigeria, Lagos is the place.
Wow.
If you don't live in Lagos or probably like Abuja, then it's just like some kind of, yeah, diverse opportunity, minute opportunities
But wait,
in other
is
places.
Lagos the capital of Nigeria?
Lagos is not the capital, but in terms of businesses and opportunities,
Wow.
Lagos is actually the center. If you come to the US, Washington, D.C. is the capital.
Yeah.
But in terms of business areas,
It's
it
spread
is not.
across. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I have this perception that difficulties, like when you live in an uncomfortable place,
Mm.
it tends to make you become innovative.
Wow.
Because once you have comfort, you become like a little bit complacent. You wouldn't want to go out of the box to do anything. So for me, I always advise people that you have to go to Lagos.
Wow.
It's a chaotic place. It's a difficult place to live, but this is where the opportunities are.
Wow.
When I graduated from the university, I mean, I studied in Ibadan, University of Ibadan, the first
Ibadan.
university in Nigeria,
Okay.
and I made the decision that I wanted to be in Lagos.
Mm.
I didn't decide to go to Lagos because I like being stressed or like stressful areas.
Okay.
No, but I have to accept it that for me to make that personal growth, I need to be in that system that will put me out. It doesn't matter whether like I am being stressed or not. What I like, my main goal was to grow. Because the opportunities are concentrated there,
Okay.
I had to put myself in there, go through the stress,
Wow.
and get that opportunity and get that growth. And I am in the US today, honestly, because I went to Lagos. Because I don't know if I should say a little, like it's just like a little story.
Okay.
I came to Lagos and I was just interested in going into tech.
Oh.
In university, I didn't do tech programs. I did not do computer science or engineering. But I decided to come to Lagos because I wanted to immerse myself
Wow.
completely in tech. And when I got into Lagos, I had to enroll in academy, programming academy.
Oh.
Yeah. It's like a job.
Oh.
It's like a job. My youth service in Nigeria, I had to like immerse myself in this system, use my 1 year youth service, NYSC,
Yeah.
to get into tech. And I got that. I did it for 1 year. I had to be in class 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. for 1 year, every day. Once I come into the system, no phone, no gadgets, nothing. I just focus,
Wow.
learn programming. I did it for 1 year. And
Right after that?
yeah, right after that, I did internship for 3 months, unpaid.
Wait, so you actually used your NYC
Exactly. To go
as,
into tech.
oh my goodness.
Yeah, because I understand, like at that point, I understood that for me to become competitive, I need to do something that has a lot of potential. Because Lagos is actually the tech hub. I can say tech hub in generally Africa. We have a lot of technology, like booming tech potential in Lagos.
Okay.
So I just wanted to get myself immersed in that system. That's why I had to like sacrifice 1 year, 9 to 5.
So what you're saying in essence is that, I mean, I picked two things from what you're saying. One is you have to leave your comfort zone, which is
Sure.
very prevalent here. Because here in the US, you realize that kids at a certain stage just have to move out of their parents' abode and then survive. And it's really difficult to survive here. At least for the few months we've been here, it's really difficult to survive here. So once you move out of your parents' house, it forces you to do things that otherwise you would never have done. For example, for you, if you had stayed in Ibadan, I don't know if originally you're from Ibadan because you attended.
Now I'm not from Ibadan.
Yeah, but so originally, if you schooled in Ibadan and then you stayed in Ibadan, your progression to this point would otherwise have probably changed. But because you moved out of Nigeria, you were able to, move out of
Lagos.
Ibadan
Ibadan. Yeah.
to Lagos. You're able to craft a path on your own, which has brought you where you are right now. And the second thing I also picked is that you always have to reinvent yourself, right? Which means you have to subject yourself to learning, subject yourself to the different things that would make you grow as a person. And for you, it took you, I think, a year and a half, I can say, because mind you, the NYC is a period where you take to understudy more like corporate world. But then you were able to use that as a learning process for an entire year.
Yeah, I
And then
mean,
use
NYSC in Nigeria, it's just like a time that you have to serve the nation.
exactly. So for something like that in Ghana, we also have something which is called, we call it NSS. So unlike you guys, we call it NSS, which is the National Service Scheme,
Okay.
which is also a year, right? So for me, that period I used to work in a bank, and for the first 3 months after work, this probably might be unethical, but after work I used to use that part of the remaining part of work for videos, just entertain myself, until one of my supervisors called me to his office and then asked me, so after work, what do you do? I was like, I mean, there's nothing to do. I mean, I'm done with work and all that. Then he advised me that uh, when he was an intern, just like I was then, he used to study after work. He used to study photography, videography, and all that. And then the same people he was working with, some of them just looked at him and they equally had the same time. But he was able to use that period to study photography and all that. And now his corporate gigs were $1,000 per program. I mean, if you convert that to Ghana cedis, that is huge, right?
Sure.
And when he gave me that idea, that was when I also started my photography journey and then my videography, and I was able to learn and all those things. So really, those two things have really shaped me, and I want to know your perspectives on that. How has, I mean, it has brought you here, but how has that been for other individuals who, for example, the guy who made that comment? What do you think his background may be, or what do you think may be the reasonings behind why he said what he said, and if at all it is justifiable to some extent, you know?
Um, like I think some individuals, for some reasons, there are just things that drives people's ambition
Mm,
and how much they feel, hey, I need to get here.
okay.
Like for someone like me, I am someone who is maybe 80 or 70% of like young youths in Nigeria are
Wow.
people who feel their future lies in their own hands.
Wow.
We don't have this environment or this kind of opportunity where we have to get anything from the government.
Mm,
So everybody you just have to look at something that you are very much interested in and fight for it by
wow.
yourself. That's why if you go across the world, people feel like Nigerians, they are very ambitious people.
Oh yeah.
They are bold, they are courageous. In fact, there is an adage in Nigeria that says, like, if you go anywhere in the world and you don't find
In
Nigerians
Nigeria.
there, run. It is not a livable place.
Oh.
These things, it just they are just things that actually come from the fact that we are taking our own destinies
Mm,
by our hands. We
mm,
don't get anything from the government.
mm.
But there are people that are very much interested in politics.
Wow.
You understand? And there are people who are they have this kind of they want to be activists.
Okay.
Like some people naturally they just want to speak for people. They
Mm,
just want to be vocal. They want to speak against the government. They want to speak against some policies. Like this question that you're asking me, I think I saw like someone who is actually a grown person, very popular in Nigeria, that made a comment that if he would advise his young self, like,
mm-hmm.
what would you do? He said, hey, uh, I would have, I should somehow leave Lagos. I shouldn't be in
Mm.
Lagos. This is actually coming from someone that is somehow, for some reason, feel like he's politically being tormented.
Oh.
Yeah, he feels like he's being tormented. And this person that made this is he seems like someone who is just very vocal against the government. And so I think he's making
Oh,
some of these
okay.
comments from the perspective of being subjected to some kind of
Oh,
stress by the government.
okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
So
Now
this
it's
is
in
the
perspective.
perception where his own perspective of
Okay.
why I need to leave Lagos.
Oh,
I need to
okay,
go to a place that is free, that I can
okay.
speak my mind, and the government is not going to come after me. Do you understand? But people
Oh,
like us, like me, myself, I don't really. I am very interested, like in government, but I mean, like I won't say like I'm an activist or
mm,
a popular person. So I think people are just speaking about all these things based on different perspectives.
perspectives.
Yeah,
Okay, okay,
I
okay,
think that is just
okay.
the
I mean, now it puts it in perspective,
yeah.
honestly, because when I saw that comment, I was and your comment on that post, I was like, wow, like this is really fascinating coming from where it is coming from. Because for me, I also grew up in Ghana, in the northern part of Ghana.
Okay.
But then along the line, I had to move. And I tell people that I've always been in the move since 2011, right?
Yeah.
Because so from junior high school, I moved to the central part. I mean, that was the southernmost part of Ghana, and then from there, I also moved to a different part of Ghana, and I've just been on the move, right? And for me, I feel like it's helped me really grow really fast as compared to my peers who have stuck in the north.
Sure.
You know, because one, like you said, opportunities in our part of the world are not very spread across like they are in the US here, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so you need to move to chase those opportunities and all
Definitely.
that. You know.
I think I have the same story like you. When I was in the University of Ibadan, half of my clique, if you come to class, like Africa, everyone like we have this clique, group of 5, group of 6 that always move together.
Yeah.
I have 5 guys or 6.
Okay.
We were in the same class, the same department and everything. When we are graduating, I already made my decision that hey, I want to serve, like I wanted to do my NYSC in Lagos.
Wow.
They had different opinions. They didn't want that stress.
Wait, let me ask you this. Do they pay you as an NYC?
Yeah, they pay, but it's just a chunk of
exactly
30,000. It's not even big for your living expenses.
So that's where I was coming to. Right? Because if it's assumed that you are serving the government, so I mean, there's nothing significant that they can give you towards your
exactly.
Living. So how were you able to survive on that chicken amount, living in one of the most expensive, states in Nigeria?
Yeah. Anyway, in my penultimate year, the university, I tried to find businesses like for myself at that time. So I launched a website.
Oh,
I was into blogging.
okay.
Yeah, I was doing blogging and making some chunk of money there.
Okay.
Through the blogging, and that was I launched that website on thinking 200 level.
Wow.
So 300 level, I was already making some money.
Wow.
Yeah, I was making money, and for some reason, then I was paying someone who built that website for me, and the maintenance and the SEO, Google AdSense, and the rest of all those things. I was spending a lot of money trying to advertise my website to make sure that I have a good ranking. Because
on
Google, I was spending a lot of money, but I was getting money to an extent. So because of that experience, I felt like, yeah, okay, this is good. I don't want to be in the situation where I probably have to keep on paying people. So I want to get in the business of tech. I want to understand how the system works. I want to be able to do some of these things. So that was how I developed interest in tech. Do you understand?
Wow.
Yeah. So, and
it's crazy.
When I developed interest in tech, I graduated and I felt like the first thing I did was contact somebody privately and say, hey, he's a senior programmer, senior engineer. Say, hey, bro, I want to get into tech. What does it take to get into tech?
Wow. Mentorship.
At that point, he told me, hey, you need to enroll. You need to find someone who will teach you, or you go into academy. I say, bro, you've been in the system. Is there a way that you can teach me? I'm going to pay. So at that time, he said, hey, you're not going to be able to pay me because he was already here.
Nigerians.
Yeah. He's coming from the same village like me.
Okay.
But he wasn't ready. He was not going to be able to do it free for me.
And it was coming from a good place, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like he said, you're not going to be able to pay me. He was looking at me like, you don't have that kind of money to pay me. I said, please, let's talk. He referred me to an Indian academy. Yeah.
Wow.
That's, they had offices, they had academy in Nigeria too.
Okay.
So when I checked, I was not in Lagos then. I called one of my guys and said, hey, go right there and check how much it is. He went there and checked and it was like 1.something million. That money was crazy.
Yeah.
No, that money was crazy. I said, no.
Wait, disclaimer. The 1 point something million is not in dollars. It's in Naira. Yeah. So,
I mean, I checked it. I called him back and said, please, I won't be able to afford this. Just let's see how much you can offer me. And he said, okay, for you, I will do it 300,000 naira. That money, I said, okay, fine, we will do it. So when I graduated, I moved to Lagos, met him, and he said, okay, fine, this is the day we are going to start. So I called my guy that I was staying with, or I came to my guy's house in Lagos. I said, bro, now that I want to do this, I think it's an opportunity for both of us to go and have this class together.
Wow.
Yeah. So I said, hey, now I'm going to come with my friend. So how much are you going to charge? He said, 300,000.
600,000.
Yeah, 600. I had to beg him because there was no money on my guy didn't have money.
Okay.
So he said, okay, 500
For both.
for both of
Yeah,
us.
so you've discounted like
500K.
50,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I brought 300, my guy brought 200, and we did it together. We did the class together. But then that money was actually coming from some of the money that I already saved running that website. Do you understand? But here is the thing. I had a couple of challenges. And that's like where I understood that doing business sometimes it's actually like crazy. I had issues with Google AdSense and some of the rest of them. They were just placing
the ads
restriction
anywhere.
on my ads. And I wasn't doing like commercial publication for people.
Okay.
I relied on clicks that I get from visitors on my website. And once they restrict that AdSense account,
it means there's no
ads.
revenue. Yeah.
I wasn't getting money. I got frustrated, bro. I got frustrated. So when I started doing the training with the guy, I just felt like, yeah, I think I have a better opportunity here. So I, put a lesser interest in publication.
Okay.
Started doing tech. And, so this thing that I'm saying is just in response to the question, how I was able to get through that money. I already had some money saved.
Okay.
So even when I was in Lagos doing the training, I still had some money. I budgeted a lot of money for my own personal growth, for my survival.
Wow.
Even when, here's the thing, after doing the training, I did the training with the guy personally for maybe 2 months before I started my NYSC. Because I graduated in 2020, COVID struck.
Yeah.
During that time was when I was doing this personal training with that guy. So immediately after doing that, NYSC opened their portal and say, hey, you can come. At that time, I was already making a lot of plan and say, hey, because I already learned some things in tech, I didn't want to get posted to maybe a clinic or school or somewhere. No, I wanted to be posted in tech because I already had that kind of prior knowledge from the training I had with the guy. So I had to go on Google, searched startup tech companies, started emailing tech companies. Hey, my name is this. I'm going for NYSC by this. Please, do you need interns? I was just sending a lot of emails. Luckily, 2 people replied. And they say, hey, can you come around by this time? I went to one of them very close to my house where I was staying. And unfortunately, they were writing PHP. PHP is just something that, no, I didn't want to do PHP. I wanted to do core programming language, backend. I said, no. And what I already did with the guy who I paid was Java. Yeah. So
Java is front end, right?
Java is backend.
Okay.
Yeah, core backend.
Okay.
Yeah, I said, no, PHP, no. I don't want to do no PHP. I said, no, I would. So the second people that responded to me said, oh, go to camp. When you leave the camp, you can come around.
Oh, wow.
That NYSC camp. If you go to camp, you have to get locked in a camp, no going out, no coming in. You have to spend like 3 weeks there before they post you to your primary assignment unit.
Okay.
Yeah. So after that camp, they posted me to a place, not even a tech company. Do you get? So I had to figure a way and, go to the place where they posted me and say, hey, please reject me. Yeah, I'm coming from a far place. Because if you are coming from a very far place, you can go to where you are posted and say, it will be difficult for me to come here. They can look at you and say, okay, it's fine. Let us reject you. You go back to the headquarters and they get you reposted. So because the tech company already told me, hey, you can come back after your camping, I went to the tech company and say, hey, this is me. I want to be here. They say, what do you know in tech? Then I thought like I was already a guru. from the few things that I learned from the guy.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I didn't even know shit. What I knew was like ABC in tech, but what they are doing in tech
It's
company is like
DEF.
writing letter, formal letter.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Right? I was figuring out how to recite ABC, but
Mm.
they were already talking about
Oh,
writing letters. So I
okay.
was here, but they expected me to know.
Okay.
I just said, hey, this is what I know. This is what I've built. I just put my laptop and run a code and say, they just asked me something on framework. Do you know
Okay.
Spring Boot? This is a framework in Java. I
Okay.
said, no. He just typed and say, hey, look at this. Go through it. I started going through it. They just took me in, the tech company.
Mm.
So I then got reposted to the tech company.
Mm.
Do you get?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
when I came to tech company, they just realized that no, I was here and they were here. That I was just gonna mess up their system. They say, okay, you're not gonna write programs. You then have to start testing the applications that others are writing. They
Oh,
then put me as software quality assurance test engineer.
wow.
Yeah. Then I started down, I was looking at the engineers there. I saw a couple of women, girls, they were writing code,
Wow.
bro. I said, no,
I have to
women
learn.
are doing coding, re-coding, and I'm here. No, I'm not gonna be here. I went to the one of the ladies and said, how did you get here?
Wow.
Yeah, I want to be able to, how did you get here? It was then that she mentioned that she went to an academy.
Which
I,
you went
I
to.
said, hey, I
Okay.
want to be in that academy. She
Wow.
just gave me a number.
And then
I
you took.
said, call this person. That very day, I called that person. They put me through, gave me exam. I wrote it, I passed. They say, hey, you can come.
Wow.
Do you know? So these are steps that
Wow.
I was taking. It's not
Wow.
just something that
Wow.
happened. Some of them were coincidental, like it just happened,
Mm.
but I was being very intentional. So I had to go back to the tech company and say, hey, this is where Tolani trained because the lady who referred me there went to that academy. I say, hey, Tolani went to this academy. I want to go there.
Mm.
Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
They say, hey, I think it's a good thing. You can just leave and go and have your training.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So they were paying me like 20,000 then, the tech company,
Oh,
in
wow.
addition to what the government was paying me. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, but then because I had to leave to go for that training.
Mm-hmm.
They stopped paying me, but they just made sure that
You were
because
still in the system such that the government doesn't take you out of the.
exactly.
Okay.
So each month I have to go to that tech company and they sign
And
my
report.
clearance letters
Yeah.
that I would take to the government. So that was how I moved from there to the
Okay.
tech
Okay.
academy.
I think we've situated how you know you've grown up and how the various influences in a person's life can influence the decisions and where it can take you to, whether where you want to be or where you don't want to be, but you're still there, right? Um, right now, I want us to juxtapose against the systems in Africa. Um, and I know you haven't traveled to the entire Africa, but you have an idea of Nigeria. I have an idea of Ghana. So I want us to juxtapose what systems exist in the educational sector in Africa, specifically West Africa, against what we have experienced here in just about 7 months. You know, um, yeah. So I mean, I wanted to give my perspective, but I would like to hear from your perspectives first, so that we put it in the right direction.
uh, well, okay. I think I'm just gonna speak based on my own perspective
Mm,
of these different systems.
mm,
A lot of people have their own, you know, what they think about the
yeah.
systems. Yeah, I think it's entirely different systems, and that is actually shaped based on, you know, the possible societal outcomes and government policies and stuff like that.
Oh,
I'm not going to speak bad of any of the systems.
okay,
All of them are good,
okay.
yeah, but they also have their shortcomings. Um, if you go to Africa, specifically Nigeria, we have this system where the education system that is um, more rooted in kind of survival. Yeah,
Oh,
our system is tedious,
okay.
and in Nigeria, I kind of feel you make yourself what you become.
Mm,
yeah, the system back there in Nigeria, it helps to an extent, but more of what you become, you make yourself
Mm.
what you become, because some of the things that you may need to grow
Hmm.
may not always be there. So you
Okay.
are just equipped on a personal level to know how to find exactly what you're looking for.
Wow.
Because some of these things, they are not going to make provisions for some of these things.
Mm.
But
But
uh,
are these dependent on poor choices of probably leaders, or they are just um, that there are no enough repository of finances to purchase certain tools, or it's just a way of thinking, right? So I mentioned things. Are these based on one bad decisions that citizens and both leaders make? Citizens such that they make poor decisions in selecting the right leaders, or they select the right leaders, but those leaders make poor decisions? Or is it that there are just not enough resources to be able to immerse ourselves into having, the high tech things that would otherwise help our educational system? Or we are just not in quotes smart enough to think to that point where we can have um, very novel, innovations to help, in our educational systems.
I think the resources are there.
Okay.
In terms of resource, we have resources in surplus.
Wow.
And when I mean resources, I mean both human and material resources. We have everything. I think the major problem in Africa, just not just within the educational sector, but across every sector, is just management.
Mm,
We have all the resources we have in terms of human, in terms of material, but there is poor management of these resources.
mm,
And it also cut across human management, resource management, and some of these things.
mm,
Um, Even though when you check uh, like how much investment we make in education, it's very poor compared to
mm.
what they do here in America.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
also, there is something that I always tell people, like the kind of or the quality of education that I got compared to the sacrifice that I made financially. Yeah, I also
Mm.
got the advantage because the University of Ibadan, I don't think I paid like $17,000 per year, like as school fees.
$17,000.
Yeah, I mean 17,000 naira.
Oh,
Sorry,
well, yeah, yeah,
17,000 naira.
yeah.
Like first year,
Okay.
the highest I paid was like 26,000 naira as school fees. If I check all these things, like from first year to fourth year or fifth year, it's not probably more than $120.
Wait, $120.
Yeah,
No, just 120.
120. Yeah, yeah. It's not. It's not
Really?
like yeah. My tuition fees is not up to that. Like maybe like for 5 years.
Wait, $120?
Yeah, University of Ibadan is actually is one of the cheapest universities in Nigeria, but it's one of the best.
But
But
but that is counterintuitive, right? Because if you pay more, for example, here in the US, right? When you look at the Ivy League schools and how much they pay and against what other universities pay, the higher you pay, the better your presumably the better quality of education you have, the better connections you have.
exactly what I'm saying, because here, like the outcome, I paid all these things,
Mm,
and I'm here in the US
mm,
in the same class, the same table with people who pay thousands of dollars. So I'm trying to compare like the outcome, my investment in education, and the outcome.
mm.
This system is actually bad for us, but it's
Oh,
then it equipped a lot of us to take our destinies in our hand,
and look beyond.
look beyond what the government or the system offers you, and you
Okay,
get whatever
okay,
resource you need
okay,
by yourself
okay,
and be
okay.
able to compete internationally, globally.
So in essence, what you're saying is, our systems should be such that the more you invest, the more better outcomes you should see.
Yeah, it should be like that. Not really like the more. I don't believe like the more you invest.
Hmm.
No, I don't believe in that. I think education should just be something that it should be a basic necessity. You don't need to be rich. You don't need to have high resources to get quality education. I'm just saying that our system is bad, but at the same time, this bad system, that because it is bad,
It
it pushes
pushes you.
people
Okay,
to
okay,
go and
okay,
find out
okay,
this resource
okay,
by yourself.
okay, okay, okay,
That
okay,
is just what I'm trying to explain.
okay.
But I am saying in essence that we have these resources to put our educational sector in place. But I'm not saying somebody needs to have it like a good amount of resources to get
To
high
get
quality of education.
okay. So if
So
you were to change one thing in the educational systems in West Africa, let me just limit it to West Africa because um, what would that one thing be if there was one thing you could change right now, like more like a wand, you just magic wand, and one thing changes? What would that be?
uh, educational system, yeah, there are just a couple of things, but I think just the one thing that I would change is actually management, like
Mm,
resource management. And I'll speak on this. I am coming from southeastern part of Nigeria.
okay.
In fact, my house is at the back of the University of Nigeria, Soka.
Oh,
Yeah, and sometimes when you're working on the campus, you see a lot of like uncompleted buildings that they spent thousands of dollars or even millions and just have them abandoned.
mm,
This thing is as a result of
poor
mismanagement
management.
of resources.
Mm, mm,
And this thing, it also contributes to the quality of classrooms and technologies that we have.
mm,
We have enough resource to put all this in place. Just like I was saying, this place that we are,
yeah,
this is a classroom.
yeah,
This is a simple furniture.
yeah.
This thing is not technology.
No, it's
No,
not.
this is not tech. This is pure skill. Just furniture that they do in Africa.
Yes, actually, I believe people in Ghana can actually do yes,
Much
replicate
more
these
better
things. Yeah,
than this.
yep,
But
yep.
when you go into our classrooms, it looks like it's a mess.
Mm.
But here, this is a simple furniture. This is not rocket science, bro.
No, it's not. I
If they
agree with
put
you.
in some of these resources into good use, we'll have classroom that is as better as what we
That's
have here.
wow,
But these
wow,
people, they know how to
wow,
manage some of their resources.
wow,
They are not.
wow.
They don't take what belongs to the public for personal gain.
Mm.
Yeah. The moment we start thinking that way, manage our resources, put it to good use. What belongs to the public should be for the public. You just reap what you sow. If you work for this as a lecturer, take in the money as a lecturer. If you don't want if you don't want to be a lecturer or you think that the salary they pay lecturers are bad,
You
don't go into
don't
lecturing.
venture. Yeah, that's
Don't
true.
go and say, hey, I'm working too hard for lecturing job and you are paying me something too
Mm,
small.
mm.
Do you understand? No,
I
I don't believe in that.
completely.
You must have figured out that this is the amount of money they pay lecturers. If you are going in there,
You
it's
go
because
in.
you have
You have
passion
passion.
and you don't care about the salary, you are taking it. Not when you go there, you say, hey, after all, I'm working so hard and I'm
Wow,
getting little.
wow,
No.
wow, wow, wow.
If you come to the US, spoken with a lot of people, even
Yeah.
PhD people, they feel like, hey, I don't want to do PhD, I don't want to work in academics. Because even in the US, they feel like people who are in academics don't
They're
get,
paid less.
yeah, they are paid less.
Mm.
But people are here doing that job passionately, taking
Yeah,
that money for years and they retire on the job.
yeah.
So don't work in Africa as a lecturer and you feel, hey, I need to take bribe, I need to mismanage funds so that I will
Mm.
compensate for this low salary that I'm being paid.
Wow,
So
that is really profound because right now in Ghana there's just been a transition of government, right?
yeah, no,
Yeah, there's
no.
been a transition of government, and there's been a lot of appointments. And one appointment which I heard one political, I would let me just describe him as a political analyst for the purposes of this conversation. He's a journalist, but he's also a political analyst. Paul Adam Autry, right, who made this comment about one CEO who was a lecturer. When I was in the university, then he was still a lecturer in the university, right?
Mhm.
And I had friends who were sat in his class, and they loved this man. You know, he was like, you can say he was the acme of a lecturer. He was like you could feel that students loved this guy because he was extremely good.
Yeah.
Right. And then he was appointed into more like corporate Ghana.
Okay.
Right. So he was shifted from academia into corporate Ghana.
Corporate world.
Now, the argument that arose was that why do we have to, continue with this system such that people in academia are pulled out of academia into corporate world? One, the pulling out of them is good because it would build the corporate America. But what is corporate Ghana?
Mhm.
But what is even better is that if you invest heavily into these institutions, like you said, such that there are enough resources for both infrastructure and also for teaching and learning, also for lecturers to do heavy R&D, they wouldn't have to be pulled from academia into
Corporate world.
corporate world,
Mhm.
right? Because once they keep pulling, it gets to a time where people would not even want to venture into academia, but would want to go directly into, the corporate gun. Because I mean, it's all about how comfortable you would be in terms of how much you earning and how much you're able to live or survive on and have that quality of life. So really profound. I think the final thing I would pick on or ask you before I ask you the very interesting question about the jollof Ghana jollof rice. One thing I would want to pick from you is that if you were to start all over again, from Nigeria, or if you went back to the 5 old year you, what would you say to that 5-year-old? Um, I mean, now you're here, but if you were to go back to, I mean, 5 years is too young, but if you were to go back to Nigeria as a young Joel, as a young Sunday, what would you say to that young person? Now that you know all that you know.
Well, looking at my history, man, to be very frank, and I wasted a lot of time on irrelevant things. So if I were to advise like a young me, I would say, find what you love, just go for it. Don't waste time on something that you don't need,
Wow.
and just find that thing that you have passion for and go for it. Because this is something that a lot of us do, and it just keeps on, delaying how progressive we can actually be.
Yeah. Yeah.
We keep on changing from here. You do this, no, you go to this, you go to this, and stuff like that. That's why, for some reasons, we don't have this kind of progressive society back there in Africa. Here in Nigeria, every sector is productive because people just go for what they love.
Yeah, and you have really young people that you sit in class. I mean, the first time some of the folks in this class, in our class, our cohorts, mentioned their ages, and I mentioned our ages to them.
Yeah,
they're like, "Really?
Yeah.
We thought you guys were really." Yeah, and you find out you waste a lot of time.
Waste a lot of time doing things that are not very important. Academically, I mean, we're just wasting years, doing things that I don't need this, but I just kept on doing it. And in the end, you still have to fall back to, but here's the thing, our economy is bad to the point that we are not driven by what we love. We are always driven by what puts food on our table.
Wow.
But if our system is actually very diverse and productively diverse, you can just do what you love and you have a very, good quality life.
Wow.
But in Africa, sometimes you may be doing that thing that you love and it can't pay your fees. So you need to start doing, if you go to Africa, a lot of us, like from Nigeria, you just go for engineering, you go for medical courses, because that is what you feel like, hey, here, I can get a job. I can even feed after studying these courses.
Wow.
That is where like Africa is somehow a little bit bad. That's why if you go to Nigeria, Lagos is just the only productive state. Most other states just there doing some irrelevant things. Wow. But still, it's okay that If you're growing up, you just have to find that thing that you love. Even if it is not, it looks like, yeah, this thing is not productive at this point, maybe somehow, somewhere,
They would get
it
productive.
would be. And also, because I heard when you mentioned like R&D,
Yeah.
this is what drives America.
Mm.
R&D is what drives America. I cannot speak of any research institute in Nigeria, any
Wow.
research center that I can walk in and say, hey, this building is just basically for
Research.
research. But here in America, what drives their system? 100% to research. This system will not exist. This school
Yeah.
will not be in
Without
existence
research.
without research. Apple will not be in
Without
existence
research.
without
Yeah.
research. Amazon will not be there without
Without
research.
research. Yeah.
These people invest
Wow.
huge amounts.
Wow.
That's why they are here and they are dashing you a lot of bucks,
Yeah.
thousands of dollars. Just come in here, be a research assistant, and you think they are helping you. No, they are helping the system. This is how their system grows. But we just look at the research, you know, sector and feel like nothing is going on. Nobody goes into research. Nobody pays anything. Nobody does anything. That's why a lot of discoveries are not made from Africa. And yeah, somehow we
Wow.
just are, you know.
All right. So the infamous question. Ghana, Ghana jollof rice, Nigeria jollof rice. Which are you going for?
Well,
Don't be biased, right?
no, I'm
Don't.
not gonna be biased.
Yeah.
I'm not
Don't
gonna
be
be
biased.
biased.
Yeah. Don't be
Don't
biased.
worry.
Don't be biased.
You know, I was born and raised in Nigeria,
Okay.
and unfortunately, I did not have that opportunity to leave the shores of Nigeria um, until I came to the US.
Okay.
It makes me feel sad that ordinarily I have never visited Ghana.
Okay.
So prior to the time that I came to the US,
Oh,
I didn't know how Ghana jollof rice tasted or
okay.
how it is made and stuff like
Okay.
that. Until I came here, I met you, I met Bismarck,
Okay.
and I was fortunate to share the same apartment with
Miss
Bismarck.
Bag, yeah.
So sometimes I just look at, oh, this Ghana jollof? Is this Ghana jollof? Oh, I think it's cool. Do it. And yeah, in terms of which one is better?
Yeah. I mean,
Must I say which one is better?
so that's where I was coming from. Not really which one is better. Like, which one would you love to eat over and over again?
I think I would say, to be very frank, I would love to eat
More
Nigerian jollof.
Ghanaian. No.
Yeah, wait, hold on, bro. Now, here's the thing.
Okay.
I probably like to eat more Nigerian jollof rice because I'm already used to it.
Okay.
It's just something that I'm already comfortable eating.
Okay.
But to be very frank, Ghana jollof is also very it's good
Okay.
because there is difference between Ghana jollof and Nigerian jollof. When I tasted your jollof,
Okay.
it's a bit dry.
Mm.
So I started asking questions. Why is it like dry?
Dry.
Like it's
Okay.
no. So I was told that yeah, you don't have to like you just put in the rice,
No, not too much water.
not too much water.
Water. Yeah. I think honestly, I think that's a difference.
That
And
is
yeah,
that is the only
it's actually the
difference that
same
between
thing.
the thing.
Yes.
And it makes yours dry. When
Yeah.
you're eating it, it tastes a little bit burnt, like that kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah.
Nigerian own is different.
In
It's where
water.
soap, it's wetter,
Yeah.
stuff like that. It's kind of
Yeah.
gummy stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Ghana own completely different, and I like it. I like food that tastes like burnt something, like
Okay.
stuff like that. But to be very frank, Ghana jollof rice is awesome. Like I'm not gonna lie. So don't worry,
All right.
Ghana jollof rice is awesome. But Nigerian jollof rice, maybe yeah, because I was raised in Nigeria, I'm already used to it. I would like to eat if I am to choose which one I have to eat like today, tomorrow, next year, stuff like that. I will go for.
If you marry a Ghanaian wife, no one will tell
No,
you. I mean,
honestly,
so,
I don't know who is looking at this video, but recommend a wife
okay.
from Ghana. Yeah, Ashanti, someone from Accra, stuff, you know.
So if you say Ashanti, so who is someone from Accra would be called what?
Someone from
Accra would be called what?
I know Accra is in southern part of Ghana.
Okay.
I don't know the tribe that it's
No,
called.
but you just mentioned Ashanti, right?
I know that Ashanti is like a tribe in Ghana.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't know like the tribe that Accra falls in. But I know Accra is in southern parts of
Oh, okay.
Ghana.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right, thank you so much, Joel, for making time to have a discussion. I mean, we've already had a long day, and we also had a very good interaction, as you can tell from this interaction. Um, I hope you benefit from this interaction that we've had, and if you are enjoying the conversation up to this point, just consider watching the other videos that may be posted later on. Um, but these are perspectives that we all have shared or all have had from our growing up in different parts of the various countries that we come from. Joe haven't explored the different parts of Nigeria. I haven't explored the different part of Ghana, and all these experiences have shaped how we think, how we even communicate, and how we even feel about these different countries that we have moved from Ghana to US and from Nigeria to US. So I do hope you sincerely benefit from it, and also I thank you again so much for coming through.
Thank you, Rahim. I think
Yeah.
I like this opportunity. You know, if I have that skill, I think, yeah, I know it's tedious to have a YouTube channel and have these things documented, but I think it's very important. So, and I'm very glad to be here.
Yeah,
You know,
thank you
sure.
for coming through.